All right, we need someone out there to come save Social Security, and it looks like it just might be Elon Musk and President Trump. So I'm going to be talking about that today. Desperate times call for desperate measures. This should have been fixed decades ago. We've known about the future cuts that are going to be happening here in a few years. We've known about those for decades, and we've kept kicking the can down the road, and there's no more road. It looks as though Elon Musk wants to make sure that, as he said in his, um, oh, let me turn off this other part here. So he said in his, this is a one man operation here. So he said in his White House kind of press conference yesterday that he wants to make sure that Social Security people that are on benefits get those benefits quickly and accurately. And that's definitely not what's happening now. And it's definitely not what's going to happen in the future with the future cuts. So I'm going to be talking about that today. Again, politicians should have fixed this decades ago, but what we're looking at, if you're new to my channel, if you haven't been watching the news for the past few decades, what we're looking at is cuts. We're talking about 2034, probably a little bit early now with the Social Security Fairness Act that was passed. So probably about 2033, 2034, we're going to be receiving cuts across the board. You know, there's no grandfathered in or anything like that. The Social Security law doesn't account for that, doesn't allow for that. So everybody's going to get cuts to the Social Security check if we don't do something now. Again, we should have done something 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years, but politicians essentially failed us. So this is our last desperate effort. And I'm going to play a little clip from Star Wars, and everybody knows the clip I'm going to play here at the end. If President Trump gets some of the proposals he's talking about, then those cuts are going to be deeper and sooner. And what are those cuts that he's talking about? He's talking about no taxes on Social Security benefits, which I agree with 100%. No taxes on tips. My mother was a waitress, so great. No taxes on overtime, but those are fine. If you're going to go ahead and do that, you're also going to get a bigger cut because that's money coming out of what would be going into the trust fund. So here's some numbers for 2023. 2024 isn't out yet, but you see on the top left there, it says taxes on old age survivors and disability insurance. 49 billion came in 2023 for taxes on Social Security. So if you end that, then that's going to be more of a cut, and the trust fund is slowly being depleted. The trust fund was started in the 1980s for future baby boomers, those 76 million baby boomers that were born between 1946 and 1964. Guess what? They put that money away. It's their savings. They put it away in the trust fund for their future. And guess what? They're getting older, if they're lucky. Hopefully they're not losing their hair like I am, but anyway, but they're getting older and they're retiring. 11,000 people are retiring every single day, and they're starting to, tap into that. And it's their right. That started in 2010. So that green area there is there's less money coming in, more money going out. There's that gap there. What's filling the gap? That green area, the trust fund. So in 2023, you can see on the bottom right, net change in reserves. So income was $1.1 trillion, but $1.2 trillion went out. Where did that extra money come from? It came from the trust fund. So $70 billion was taken out of the trust fund. So politicians like to say, oh, the trust fund is all fake. It's all IOUs. It's not real money, yada, yada, yada. But it's being used. If you're getting a Social Security check, you are getting the trust fund. Part of your Social Security check is the trust fund. So we need to fill that gap because the trust fund is going to be running out here pretty soon. And then Social Security can only pay what it receives. And there's a big gap there, anywhere from 21, 22 to 33% of a gap. So we need to fix this. Again, we needed to fix it 10 years ago, but here we are. So Elon Musk. I'm going to play a clip, just the Social Security part of his press conference yesterday in the White House about Social Security. And he says, number one, he says, hey, I'm a human being. All human beings we're idiots. Americans are really idiots because we're so optimistic. You ask anybody in the world, Americans are really optimistic. quote unquote idiots because we think we can do anything. And so I think that's one of our strong suits is our idiocracy in the sense of we think we can do anything. And I think sometimes, a lot of times we fail. And he says the exact same thing. He says, hey, pretty much, yeah, I fail. Sometimes I'll make mistakes. Call me on it. So I'm going to call him on a little bit here. And he talks about the 150-year-old person getting Social Security benefits, the incorrect record. And that is incorrect. So I'm going to call him on that. And he says Social Security doesn't record it, and you can't tell what the benefits are being received for. I'm going to correct him on that. All right, but so I'll show that clip in a little bit. But the very end of it, he says, "I just want to make sure people get their benefit quickly and accurately." Perfect. Love to hear that. Love to hear that coming from the White House. Awesome. That's exactly what this channel is all about: getting your benefits quickly and accurately. So I'm going to show the clip but what Elon Musk, please share this. Send this video out to X. Put it in the hashtag TESS. Trump and Elon save Social Security. I don't know if hashtags work anymore, but anyway, whatever. Send it out to him in X and say, hey, watch this video. You're wasting your time with fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm sorry. You're wasting your time. Your time is a lot more valuable than that. You need to go for the big problems. Is there fraud, waste, and abuse? Yes. Okay, let me repeat this 5 times because people say, Ed says there's no fraud. There is fraud, waste, and abuse in Social Security. There's fraud, waste, and abuse in the Park Service. There's fraud, waste, and abuse in every bank, health insurance company, every private public company. There's fraud, waste, and abuse. Social Security employees find fraud, waste, and abuse every single day. My office, I ran the 3rd business Social Security office in the country. Oh, if for those people that are new here, let me pop up my little thingy. So there is fraud, waste, and abuse. My office won many awards for finding people fraud, waste, and abuse, illegals receiving Social Security numbers, not necessarily payments. People working that are receiving disability benefit. We found fraud, waste, and abuse every single day. The Office of the Inspector General finds fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm not saying that there's not fraud, waste, and abuse, but that is not going to save Social Security. That is not going to prevent. It may prevent 1 or 2%. It might add maybe 3 or 4 months onto the trust fund solvency. It's a big deal, but it's not going to save Social Security. I'm going to talk about some of the actual things that will save Social Security. And Elon Musk, please be careful. When you say stuff like the 150-year-old and all this other type of stuff that Social Security doesn't keep track of the payments and everything, I'm going to talk about a video in a couple of days here. People pick up on that and they jump from A to B to up to the moon to whoever the spaceman Tesla guy head into Mars or something like that. It's amazing how people jump on simple statements and they take it way out of proportion. And unfortunately, that's what we see. And why do they do that? This is a cottage industry attacking Social Security. Why do they attack Social Security like that? Because their ultimate game, their end game is to destroy Social Security. And how do you destroy something? Well, first you have people hate it. You destroy customer service, which their politicians are doing a phenomenal job in customer service. We need you, Elon, to improve efficiency of Social Security. They definitely, the efficiency needs to be improved 100%. But that's, they just needs people. Social Security needs people. The baby boomers are coming in. Social Security staffing, it is a low 50 years. Hasn't been this low of staffing in 50 years. And as you can see by the chart, more beneficiaries. Those baby boomers are coming up. So here's an idea. Those people that you have let go that you don't think should work in any other federal agency or whatever the case may be, reassign them to the Social Security Administration. Help with the backlogs. Too many people are not receiving the benefits they're supposed to. The phones aren't being answered. It is not about telework. You got politicians say, it's all, as long as people come back to the office, everything will be okay. No. You can answer phones from the cubicle in the office just as well as you can at home because it's all monitored. I've talked about that several times, but if you want to put people back in the office, go ahead and do it. But I guarantee you 100% that's not going to help customer service. It's not. It's just not. So go ahead and put back everybody in the office next week, and then I will revisit it next month And my audience will say, yeah, I called my local Social Security office and I was on hold for 3 hours. Oh, wait a second. We're supposed to, the ending of telework, we're supposed to solve all that according to politicians. They're distracting you. They are distracting you to the end game is to death by 1,000 cuts and give Social Security. This has been the plan. If you look in my YouTube description, it has the playbook. This is the plan to give the trust fund and all future monies over to Wall Street billionaires so they can bet it on Wall Street. And my audience, my community here, they are pretty much 100% against that. We probably at 1% say, yeah, that might be a better idea, but 99% of the community that follows me here disagree with that. Okay, let's go into what you actually said, and we'll talk about it on the way
Well,
on,
first of all,
on the other side.
some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. There's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it.
I like it. That last statement. I was like, okay, all right, maybe we can work with this. Again, politicians should have fixed this, but and this is not partisan. This is not left, right, or anything like that. Every study that's ever been done about the people's support of Social Security, it's always been 80+%. Didn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independents. They want Social Security to stick around. They want it to be strengthened and definitely better customer service. So all right, let me talk about you're wasting your time on these deceased people. The 150-year-old, there may be, okay, so there's a difference. There's a difference between the Numident and the MBR. The MBR is what is the payment record. That's the checkbook. So I guarantee you 100% the MBR is not in pay. So Elon, if it is, then I'll apologize. But show me that 150-year-old person received a check last month or last year, and I guarantee it, they did it. The MBR is closed out, it's suspended, whatever the case may be. Maybe that person, it was an incorrect record. That person passed away overseas. And the problem with those, 6.2 million, records that are people that are still alive on Social Security, 112 years old, that's all just politicians trying to distract us as well. Again, what it is, Social Security cannot close out a record unless they have documentation, a death certificate. So if that was an incorrect record to begin with because it was made back in the 1940s on the old payment system, whatever the case may be, or it was that person passed away overseas and we never got a death certificate from wherever they passed away overseas, but the person is not in pay. That record, the Numident, that Social Security number is still active in the sense of it's not, that part of it is not closed out, but it's not active in the sense of payment. The MBR is closed out or it's suspended. But it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. You have the president do an executive order, give the Social Security Administration authorization because they can't close it out legally unless they get an actual death certificate, an actual certificate that that person actually passed away. If they don't get it, then that record just sits around in limbo. It's not in pay. They don't receive a check. It's a bureaucratic thing. So have the president sign an executive order. Okay, I give Social Security authorization to close out this record, even though they don't have documentation. Go ahead and close it out. Okay, it's not going to save any money because those people are not in pay, but it's going to prevent politicians. This story has been around since 2015. It's the same thing that pops up every now and then. Politicians pop it up and social media picks it up and, oh my gosh, Social Security is so incompetent and stuff. It's not going to save any money. Knock yourself out. That's That's waste right there. If you're going to say, okay, we're going to go through and investigate all these 6.2 million people and spend, $20 million calling up and trying to find the death certificate and all that, that's waste. Um, just close them out or forget about it. Again, show me any of those 112-year-olds actually being in pay that. Yeah. So anyway, and about the big coats, or excuse me, that you also said that um, there is no record of why these people are being paid. That is incorrect. Anybody that's ever received Social Security benefits for a while knows when we used to get a letter from Social Security and you were receiving benefits on another person's record, it had your Social Security number, it had their Social Security, and then it had like a code at the end. It had like an A. An A means you're the primary claimant. That is your record. You're getting benefits from your record. If the Social Security number had your spouse or your ex-spouse or something, it had that person's Social Security number and then had like a B1 or a B2 or a BT. If you're a child, you're getting C1 benefits from a parent's record. What are some of these are all the codes. A D is the disabled widow. You've got W's. Yeah. So these are all the codes. So Social Security, you can find out exactly. It's super, super easy. Super easy. The reason you think there's no note there is because you were just looking at the Department of Treasury and you didn't know about BIC codes, but now you know about the BIC codes. So yeah, again, that's yeah, W's are disabled widows 50 or more. So all right, so knock yourself out on those, but you're on the deceased people, the 112 years old, the 150, but you're going to just waste your time. You really need to focus on the big picture, and the big picture is saving Social Security. And how do we save Social Security? It's easy. It just needs political will, and that's what we don't have. So this is why I think we should appeal to you, because there's desperate measures. I don't think you should be the person to do this. I think politicians should have done this, but they didn't do it. So hey, what are we going to do here? Maybe this is an opportunity to save Social Security. All right, so this is in my description on my YouTube channel. This is by the actuary of Social Security. Anytime a politician or anybody has this bright idea to save Social Security, they say, here's what we should do. We should do X, Y, and Z. They send that to the actuary. The actuary, picks out their big, pulls out their big calculator, and they run the numbers. You're a numbers guy, so I'm sure you'll love this type of stuff. All right, and this is it. So they break it down into different categories. Level of benefits, cutting benefits. President Trump has said no cutting of benefits and no raising the retirement age. Those are off the table. Good, we like that. Um, but there are other payroll taxes, trust fund investment equities, taxation of benefits, and all the rest of it. So this goes into the entire thing, and it's like a spreadsheet, and it says, okay, let's see your A4. This right here, compute the Colling chain inversion. That's going to solve 14% of the problem. Okay. Um, reducing benefits. Let's see. PIA, changing the indexing the PIA. I won't get into the PIA. There's 90%, 32%, 15%. So they're changing the way. Anyway, so that's going to save 85% of the problem. So, you can get your high school, kids anywhere out there and say, okay, let's do this and let's add up this one and this one. This is actually negative. So we're definitely not going to pick that one. The one that I recommend and people that watch my channel recommend is E2-1. E2-1, 73%. That's going to solve 73% of the long-term shortfall of Social Security. Actually, that E2-1 would solve 100% of the problem if we had done this 3 or 4 years ago. But every year we delay, it's going to solve less. But anyway, that is to raise the tax maximum FICA. And what that is Elon, you and your buddies on Wall Street, you're billionaires, millionaires, you pay Social Security for maybe 7 seconds. Your Social Security FICA, if you pay it at all. Anyway, but let's say you pay it for the first 7 seconds of the year. So this year, from January 1st, midnight to 7 seconds after midnight, you're done paying Social Security. That's the current system. Us, the rest of the people out here, we have to pay FICA Social Security on every dollar we make 365 days of the year. because we don't make over $176,100. And that's the issue. I mean, you're an economics guy as well. You know that wages have been stagnated since the 1980s for the regular people. Those making a lot of money, making a lot of money. And that money that goes to the top used to come to, the rest of us, and we would pay FICA in it. And that's why Social Security was strengthened. That's why it was good for a while. But that money is slowly going to the top, and that money isn't subject to FICA. So if we just get rid of the cap completely and everybody pays FICA Social Security, because you already pay FICA Medicare. Medicare, there is no cap. If everybody just pays FICA Social Security just like everybody else, then 73% of the problem would be fixed. Then you just have to look at the actuary and try to find another, 17% or something, 27%. So you're a numbers guy better than I am. So anyway, so those are the solutions. And it's pretty simple, and it's not going after fraud, waste, and abuse. If you want to go that, after fraud, waste, and abuse, again, it's not gonna push the needle that much, and unless you find something really crazy. But you haven't really yet. A 150-year-old person is not really, one or two people. That's not really going to help. So these 7 seconds versus 365 days, and the current cuts. So we're talking about future cuts in a few years. But as I said, there's current cuts happening right now, and that's people that are losing benefits right now because they can't get help from the Social Security Administration. That's why my channel has kind of taken off, because people have got nowhere else to look. They can't get help, figuring out navigating the bureaucracy. So unfortunately, they have to come to me, and I would like to go back into retirement. So if you save Social Security and improve customer service, then you will never see me again. So, but I'll do something else stupid on the internet possibly. So anyway, so if you're going to be letting, like I said, if you're going to be letting people go and other agencies or something like that, you can say, hey, we can let you go, or you can go down to your local Social Security office and work there. Usually it takes a couple of years to train people, but if they can do like SS5s, change of address, direct, what's an SS5? That's issuing Social Security cards, replacement Social Security cards, and stuff like that. That usually is a big workload. Less so now that they've automated it and people can go online and stuff. But there are easy workloads that they can help out with immediately, and that will improve customer service. And those regular people that are more trained can go back to the more difficult stuff instead of the kind of the easy stuff. Or if you find a way to improve efficiency by doing whatever, then that is awesome too. But yeah, we definitely need your help. And here's the clip from Star
This is
Wars.
our most desperate hour.
you know
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
All right. All right. So yeah. Anyway, okay, let's go ahead, and this is the live Q&A. So I want to hear y'all's opinions, and please send this email or send this video to Elon and Trump, and post it on X, whatever. He needs to get the information, so he stops spinning his wheels on minor things, and he perhaps can prevent cuts from happening in the future, which would be a beautiful thing. All right, let's get into some questions. Let's see. So Kevin, there is no way there is not nepotism and waste and abuse in the Social Security Administration. I wouldn't believe it. Yeah, again, yeah, nepotism. That's if anyway, but yeah, well, they're nepotism. I don't know about nepotism, but there are people that find their jobs. Yeah, so that that love working for Social Security, and then they recommend their kids work for Social Security. So yeah, I loved every minute working for Social Security. So I would highly recommend my children to work for Social Security if the opportunity arises. But nepotism, I don't know about that. But yeah, waste and abuse, 100%. I agree. But it's not going to really move the needle that much in terms of saving your check in the future. The fact that we're hearing that there is fraud in the Social Security system is a big deal, because when the other guys were there, they were saying, oh, everything's just fine. No, you see it in the news all the time. In my district, yeah, a few of those went into the newspapers and stuff. So yeah, you hear about fraud all the time, and particularly Medicare, a lot of Medicare fraud too. That's another thing. That's a whole different video. So despite how they poll in surveys, the American people voted for Social Security Medicare cuts when they voted for the, okay, well, All right. I think they voted for him for different reasons. I don't think they voted for him for cuts, but if yeah, please tell me, how does Trump's immunity affect current expected judges cease and desist? Okay, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Let's see. Capitalism will never take care of disabled and people, and I'm willing to bet you a lot of money there's a better system. There, a lot of systems throughout the world have a social security type, system. President Trump floated the idea of a sovereign wealth fund, and I know in Norway they have a sovereign wealth fund that is doing very, very well, and that supports their social security system and their unemployment and medical health care and everything like that. But the problem with establishing a sovereign wealth fund is that you need money, you need capital, and Norway really didn't have, from what I know, they built that based on money. We have, unfortunately, debt, $36 trillion, and that's one of the things that Elon Musk is going after, which is awesome, a beautiful thing. But we want to make sure we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and get rid of Social Security as attempt to get down the debt and make a lot of seniors suffer because of it. So a sovereign wealth fund somehow, that's above my pay grade. If somehow they could do that, and with under the $36 trillion in debt, and maybe use the sovereign wealth fund to shore up Social Security, then yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a new idea on this side. Let's see. A lot of soldiers are still MIA that have Social Security numbers. Yes, yes. I'm an old Marine Corps sergeant. It's funny when I first my first duty station, El Toro, California, Marine Corps Air Station. Um, the barracks, on the outside of the room in the window, so everybody could see, would be the name. I think it was like Private First Class Weir, and it would have my Social Security number and date of birth, and it would have everybody's information so anybody could see it. And that was a strange time. But yeah, people still wear the little red bracelets, MIA, that people are still, yeah, not accounted for. So same type of, I guess, thing in Social Security. No one has been putting out this type and volume of information. Don't quit on us. We're going to need you on the board of Discovery. You're welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, unfortunately. I try not to, I always try to do my best. But my senator responded to my email about my issues with the Fairness Act, new applicants versus those who applied and were GPO'd and have to wait. Said he can open a congressional inquiry. Guess not. Yeah, so the Social Security Fairness Act, this is another thing politicians did that, I don't agree with, that it's not fair. But anyway, I lost that battle. But even if they were going to do it, they should have given Social Security resources to do it. They said, okay, Social Security, here, fix these 3 million records. Bye. And that's all they did. So they just kind of left Social Security hanging, and customer service is getting worse and worse and worse. And that was the intent by a lot of politicians, to make customer service worse, because you all hate Social Security. And then when they come in later and say, hey, we've got a solution, since you hate Social Security so much, we're just going to give it over to our Wall Street buddies, and then make all kinds of kickbacks and stuff like that. Let's do this. Let's hire Social Security workers to promptly process legitimate applications and weed out the waste, fraud, and abuse, instead of working from the White House, ivory tower, and outer space. Yeah, the Social Security just needs people. And AI, I'm sure you could, get some efficiency there and stuff, but people want to talk to people, and they're one of their most important times in their life is they've been waiting for retirement all their life. They want to talk to a human being and make sure they're doing the right thing. If they lost a loved one and they're going in their file for survivor benefits, they want to talk to a human being and make sure they're getting to, doing the right thing. If they become disabled, unable to work, you get the drift. They don't want to talk to an AI, whatever. Raise that tax on incomes over poverty level. Yep. Eliminate the cap, then everyone pays the same FICA. Exactly. Exactly. Elon can get out of my Social Security business. Can we take a look at his private personal information? Who told you that? Liberal media, the ones that are getting tax dollars to say so. I'm not sure what. Okay. Let's see. I called Social Security today, and I left my number for a call back. They called me within the hour and got my questions answered in a very professional, courteous manner. Awesome. We love to hear that. Even against great odds. Some offices are, that the employees are doing the best they can. So let's they are way underwater, treading water, barely. So yeah, let's call them out and say great job when they do a great job. Let's see here. Breaking news: he's a billionaire. He don't care. The wealthy look for themselves. They do not care about. Yeah. So, but I mean, this is our opportunity. Yeah, I've politicians, it doesn't look like they're going to do it. They're just going to sit there and wait for the cuts to happen, and then yeah. So if SSA didn't post a work credit that keep me from getting my SSDI, and they finally posted it 10 years later, did all my hearings? Can I do anything now? It's been 2 years now. Is it too late for? All right. So it looks as though you were probably not currently insured, or you were. So when you file for disability benefits, I'm sure Anthony knows, in order to get disability benefits, you have to be insured and currently insured. What does that mean? That for most people, insured, just like retirement, you had to pay into the system for 10 years or 40 quarters. But so for retirement benefits and survivor benefits, that's all you need. But for disability benefits, you also need to be currently insured. And what does that mean? That means you had to pay into Social Security 5 out of the last 10 years. So the idea Congress says that someone works in their 20s and they pay their 10 years, and then they take off and travel the world for the next 20 years, and then become disabled in their 50s. They come in and said, "I'm no longer able to work. I need disability." And they're like, "Well, but you haven't been working for 20 years." So that's where the 5 out of the last 10. So if you were able to correct your earnings record, and this is good for everybody, you definitely need to go into Social Security, start a My Social Security account and make sure your earnings record is correct. But you go in there, you went in there and you corrected your records, and now you just might be insured. So based on that new evidence, I would 100%, unfortunately, have to go through the process again and say, hey, now that I am actually insured or currently insured, whatever the case may be, I would definitely check to make sure that's the case. Then yes, absolutely, you should file an appeal and go through the process. And if they find out that, yeah, well, that makes you insured, therefore here's your money, then that would be a beautiful thing for you. The Social Security office that I go to usually has a wait time of 15 to 30 minutes. The Social Security personnel are always friendly and help with my problems. All right, I like it. Yeah, mine was the third busiest office in the country, and one of the reasons it was is because we had 2 other offices in our city, but our office was awesome. So people used to come to our office all the time because we were awesome. So that's why it got so busy. But anyway, that's not because of me. It's because I had awesome employees. How can I get a full report about how Social Security came to the benefit amounts I'm getting? I have no idea how much I will get when my 5-month waiting period ends. Okay, so you filed for disability and were approved for disability. It's based on how much you actually paid into Social Security. They do an average. They take your high 35 years of earnings or reasonable facsimile thereof, depends on how old you are, and they do the averaged index monthly earnings, and then they multiply it by these bin points to come up with your primary insurance amount. But that's how the sausage is made. Yeah, you can just request. File an SSA 561 to request reconsideration, and once you get the decision of the amount, then you can ask for a full accounting. And I guarantee you that one's going to take a long time because local offices do not produce those letters, those calculations. That has to go to the regional office. There's 9 regional offices throughout the country. So yeah, that'll take you a while to get. But if they determine, 5, 6, 7 months later that they calculated your benefits incorrectly, then they'll give you the difference. They'll make up the difference. So yeah, good analogy, batting average. He admits to the best he can do is wrong 75% of the time. Yeah, that's pretty much like all of us, right? That's one of the ways you make your life easier is you realize we're all idiots. So we just keep on pumping on, and sometimes we get things right, and sometimes we don't. And yep. So why so condescending? Your videos are so political now and are driving people away that need help. No, I shifted a few months ago. I just did policy program type stuff for the first year I did these, but with the cuts coming, it's like, why should I mean, I help getting the people their benefits, and I'm like, oh, great, you got an extra $200. But yeah, sorry, in a few years, that's going to go away because they're cuts. So that doesn't make sense. So I am, as you can tell from today, I am 100% for any politician that is going to make sure those cuts don't happen. So I don't care who they are. My political party is Protect Social Security Party. So, all right. And if you don't like Dark Ed, why are you listening? Exactly. Yeah. I like negative comments that are entertaining. There are survivor benefits for minor children. Are there benefits available for the wife at the time if they have not reached FRA? Yes, those are called child and care benefits. So if you have children under the age of 16 or children that became disabled before the age of 22, and those children receiving benefits, then you can receive what's called child and care benefits. You're limited to the amount of money you can work and everything. Other than that, before your full retirement age, if you're a disabled widow, you can get disabled widows benefits. That's between the age of 50 and 59. So on my Social Security account, it tells my monthly summary of benefits, but I still don't know how much I will get. I got approved for disabled survivor benefits, 700 for SSDI and 2063 on survivor. Yeah, okay, so you're sounds like you're getting benefits on your own account as SSDI disabled, and then you're getting the difference. So if your survivor benefits are the total of 2063, then what might happen is you'll get the 2063 minus the 700. So you'll get 700 from yours, and then another, what, 1300 or so from that person's, for a total of 2063. And again, once you get the award letter, it should tell you, it should break it down. But if you have any questions on how much the breakdown is or anything like that, then you can reach out to Social Security and they'll tell you. It says, oh yeah, you're getting 700 from yours, and then the others, 17 or whatever from his, 1300 or whatever the case may be. All right, Brett became a member, silver member. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Social Security needs to train their workers better. I'm paying back $7,000 overpayment. I agree. And that's definitely one thing Elon Musk can definitely help out with is, particularly disability, SSI, which does not come out of the, Social Security Trust Fund. SSI is the Supplemental Security Income. That's the welfare-based program that Social Security administers. But people that report wages, there's a delay there, and that system needs to be improved. I 100%, I agree with you there. And yes, workers need to spend more time training, but unfortunately, they got to answer 400 calls. So I'm sure the district manager, in that particular office says, yeah, we should really spend a couple hours today, talking about, this new thing. There's, whatever, improving the system Kaizen, continual improvement, but we're barely keeping up. And so, yeah. Under President Eisenhower, higher incomes were taxed very high, 90%, which led to the greatest middle class in U.S. history. The wealthy need the same tax structure to keep them humble and true. Yeah, it's that was the big time. Was it 1950 to 1957? He was president or something. Yeah. So, and hire more Social Security workers specialize in financial investigation into fraud. That'll save a lot of money. Yeah, hire more workers. Yeah, 100%. Yes. OIG is pretty good at that. The Office of Inspector General, they catch people all the time, but people are smart and they try different things, and most of them eventually get caught. I'm sure there's some that don't, but anyway. AI is a computer program by a person. It is not a person. Will never have all the knowledge of a person's brain. Yes. And if we, defer to AI to adjudicate claims, then whatever person who programmed that AI, it's like, well, approved for, denied for disability. And wow, the AI, because there was a health insurance company, a few of them actually, that were, their prior authorizations were being denied or approved by AI. And the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services came in and said, no, you can't do that. You actually have to have a human being, an actual doctor, look at those prior authorizations. That's why I always recommend Medicare supplement plans. a plan N or G or F or whatever the case may be, because they do not have prior authorizations. So if the doctor says you need it, it's medically necessary, you get it, period, end of story. There's no networks and stuff. But some people, a lot of people can't afford the monthly cost for a Medicare supplement, so they go to Medicare Advantage, and they're not told that they're Medicare supplement. So that's why I partnered up with Chapter there, our sponsor. And so if you need help, and this is also the open enrollment period. So for those people that chose the wrong Medicare Advantage plan or forgot to check their Medicare Advantage plan, make sure you reach out to someone, you reach out to Chapter, whoever, and say, hey, I want to make sure I'm in the best plan for me in my particular area. I lost my doctor, the price has increased, or whatever the case may be. And this is also the opportunity where you can bail from a Medicare Advantage plan and go back to original Medicare and get a Medicare supplement if you can, fit it within your budget. But in most states, you'll have to go through health underwriting. So it's not like necessarily a physical exam. They'll just ask you, a dozen or couple of dozen questions, and then you just might be able to go back to original Medicare and not have to worry about prior authorizations and all the rest of that stuff. So sovereign wealth fund in this case is Trump and Musk's way of getting around congressional oversight, because Congress actually has the power of the purse. Yeah, there's no good intention in this plan. Yeah, a lot of countries kind of have that, or again, yeah, the devil's always in the details. Yes, I agree. Will my years be counted working as a recurrent employee for Los Angeles County? Counted for Social Security? Probably not, because LA County, it really depends how you're hired. LA County, it was part of the old, WEP GPO type. They're non-covered employment. So that means they do not pay into Social Security. They're one of those 3% that don't pay into Social Security. So it won't help. But under the Social Security Fairness Act, I guess it won't hinder you. But I would definitely check out to make sure whatever employment you have is covered or not covered. We wouldn't have to worry about paying 140-year-old people if we had private accounts. It works for IRA accounts. Just make it people. Yeah, we're not paying that. I guarantee we're not paying that person. It's just that there is no corresponding death certificate, so it's just kind of in limbo on the NUMI, which is just your Social Security card. So that Social Security number has not been closed out. The person is not in pay. The person is not getting money. So you can spend a whole bunch of money tracking down the person, that passed away in, northern Vietnam, and go track down the birth certificate and spend thousands of dollars to get the birth certificate so you can finally close out that person. But that seems like fraud, waste, and abuse right there. The person is not in pay. Move on, find some actual money somewhere. So yes, indeed, our Social Security office ought to be funded properly, and doing what Dr. Weir is doing for us here. Fund our government. Not funding is not working. Yes, 100%. Yeah, you shouldn't have to come here to get information. You should be able to go directly to Social Security. Social Security falls under the executive branch, so Trump could fix this now. Trump also has majority in Congress. Fixing 76% of the problem is good. I agree. But it's the people that are going to make that decision are the people that are in that higher category. So they're going to be and they're sponsored. Their sponsors, the millionaires and the billionaires that support them. They're not going to want that solution. So that's going to be a tough solution. But that is the easiest solution. That's the solution that's been around on the table. Was it Larson? Congressman Larson has proposed that, and it's been around for a long time. So we need our money. We could never hate our money. We hate fraudulent politicians. Yes. Class action suit for stealing my Social Security number. Yeah, that's been kind of thrown out there, hasn't it? So hopefully, someone doesn't go into MCS, Modernized Claim System. The Social Security system is definitely old, but hopefully someone doesn't go in there and start pushing buttons. And what are your thoughts on what is modern monetary theory says about funding Social Security? I never wanted to cheat SSDI. I'm surviving cancer, but I can't live off the little money I get, so I work and still rob Peter to pay Paul. Yeah, that is so that's another thing politicians do, is they say Social Security is so incompetent. They pay so many people overpayments every year, missed payments and incorrect payments and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of people, if you watch my channel, sometimes I recommend getting overpaid. So it's a strategic, conscious decision to get overpaid, like Ray here. It's, he knows the issue that he needs the money now. He, right? He or she needs the money now. So it's like, I need the money now. I got to pay rent. I know I shouldn't get this money because I'm working and they're going to hold back the benefits, but next year is next year. And, I'll deal with it at that time, set up an overpayment plan or something like that. And some people that are receiving early retirement, they say, okay, I'm going to make over the 23,400, but I'm only going to make $1,000 over. And rather than calling Social Security and waiting on the phone for 3 or 4 or 6 hours and, worrying about whether my check is going to come or stop and restart next year, or whatever, I'll just let it ride and I'll get an overpayment. And then when I file my taxes, in March, April, or May, I'll get a nasty letter from Social Security that says, hey, we paid you $500 too much. You owe us $250. And so people make a conscious decision to get overpaid sometime. And politicians use that as another way to beat up on Social Security, with their ultimate intention is to, destroy our trust in Social Security so they can give it to their buddies on Wall Street. So, but we're smarter than them and we're not going to fall for that anymore. Ronald, Trump did win the election. He only won by 49.8% of the popular vote. So it was less than 50% of the population that voted. Okay. All right. But he is the president. And again, politicians should have fixed this, but this might be an opportunity. This might be a very good opportunity. I always try. I'm one of those stupid Americans that are always positive that think that we can do something. So we might be able to leverage this for our own purposes. Do we have to play to the egos? You can't get to that level in government and business, richest man in the world, without a massive ego. So we got to play to the ego a little bit. So Elon, don't listen to that part or or busted. So that's why I'm saying, we'll put your faces on Mount Rushmore, Elon and President Trump. If you save Social Security and prevent cuts from happening, I don't know. Anyway, so I love Elon. He's a billionaire who's been scoring and he's on a mission to right a lot of wrongs. I hope you're right. I benefit of the doubt. I love that last statement that he says. I want to make sure that people get the right benefit at the right time. That is, if you ever worked at Social Security, all those people out there that work Social Security, that's the mantra: the right benefit at the right time. So he drank the Social Security Kool-Aid. So let's have him, and maybe fall on his sword and say, you know what, I'll pay FICA tax like everybody else does. And that will definitely help. And then maybe it'll start a trend and Bezos will pay FICA tax like everybody else. And then Zuckerberg will pay FICA tax and Warren Buffett is pay FICA tax like everybody else. And then it'll start a trend. And so I sure hope I'll do that, LOL, because he's really going to piss off a bunch of people when you start messing with their money. Okay, sure. Let's see. I sure hope they do not mess with people's checks that they worked hard for. That would be stupid to a whole time low, which I don't put past them. I don't think they want that smoke. Yeah, and that's part of the delay. Is politicians say, well, here's the solutions, here's what we want to do, but we really can't do it, because I blame both sides, because you got half of the politicians who say, yeah, we don't want Social Security. We want to give it over to Wall Street. We want, people to have private accounts and then give it over to Wall Street. And I took retirement claims in 2008, 2009, when this whole bunch of people lost their 401ks to that whole thing. So I know, anyway. But there are half of the politicians that, verbally right out said, no, Social Security should go away, bye. And there's other half of the politicians that says, no, we don't want to do that. We want to save Social Security, but they haven't done it yet. So one side is kind of blatant, the other side is incompetent, and they're both incompetent. And so they're just kind of buying time for that crisis, and that crisis is soon upon us, and it's getting closer and closer and closer, and desperate times. And so therefore, desperate measures. Please let this channel be about answering Social Security questions, not respond to rants and opinions. We need your wisdom, experience to help us get our benefits correctly. Yeah, I've done. I've got over 1,000 videos, and probably 95% of those are about helping you get your benefits. But yeah, sorry, I'm gonna have to rant a little bit to protect benefits in the future. And look into QMB program at your local food stamp office. If you qualify, they will pay Medicare, plus you will receive Medicaid, plus dual eligible, and Medicaid will pay your copays. Yes, here's a good policy thing. So if you or someone you know are having a hard time paying that $185, the Medicare Part B premium, 100% take SR's recommendation. Contact your local your Medicaid office, your Department of Welfare, Department of Social Services. Before I worked for Social Security, I worked at the Department of Social Services doing Medicaid and food stamps. Um, and so you can have that person apply for Medicaid. And if they're approved, there's different levels of Medicaid, QMB and Slim B and QI and different things. Depends on your state. But if you're approved at the higher levels, they will pay for your Part B premium, the $185, and that'll put $185 more in your pocket. So you can have Medicare and Medicaid, and Medicaid can pay for your Part B premium. And therefore, you are, as SR points out, you become dual eligible. You're eligible for both Medicare and Medicaid. And if you're dual eligible, you could be very well eligible. Well, you're eligible for, well, depending on what level of Medicaid you have, you're eligible for what's called a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. If you're on Medicaid, you can't get a Medicare supplement plan. So Medicare Advantage is the way to go, depending on your particular situation and what's available in your area. And those Medicare Advantage dual eligible plans, those are the ones you see advertising those grocery cards. Those grocery cards are advertised really, really scammy. What happens is, whoever the health insurance company or the health agent or whatever, makes a Facebook post and says, hey, $500 grocery card, free ice cream and unicorns. And then you call them up, and it turns out it's only available in one zip code in Tennessee, right? So they take the best one in the country, and they advertise it to the whole country. So, but long story short, there just might be one available in your area. So reach out to Medicaid, get your Medicaid to pay for the Medicare Part B. You can reach out to Chapter, and they can tell you with one of those plans are available in your area. William, thank you for the donation. You need to rant about wrongs now. Okay, someone paid me $2 to rant. So that'll get you, $2 of ranting. That'll get you at least, 72 hours of ranting? I like to rant. So, question for my grandson. We love this. People looking out for other people. This is what this channel is all about. He has a physical disability. Can he receive benefits for his care? Okay. If he has a physical disability, are the parents receiving benefits? Or if the parents are receiving retirement benefits or disability benefits, he could very well receive benefits on their record. If you've adopted him, then he can receive benefits on your record. If his parents are disabled or deceased, then he can receive benefits on your record. Or he can file for SSI. That's that supplemental security income. So he can file basically on his own. So call Social Security and apply for SSI. It's based on disability. For SSI, supplemental security income, you can get it based on a disability at any age, or age it, that is 65 and older. But the max you can get from SSI is $967 this year. And then in terms of healthcare and everything, definitely make sure he reaches out to Medicaid, CHIP, the Children Health Program, and yes, 100%. Speak the truth and don't relent. Okay, appreciate it. Let's see. Still do not how to become a member. There's I think on the bottom of the YouTube thing, you can become kind of a paying member, a couple dollars a month or so, and if you'd like, but if you don't want to, I appreciate you being here. Elon knows what he is doing. He has the smartest people on his team, and he doesn't need our money, nor does President Trump. They're working for the people, unlike Democrats and rhinos. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hopefully, in terms of Social Security, my focus is on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid here. But in terms of Social Security, I hope Hope he does the right thing. Yep, I 100% behind him if he does. I was the primary caregiver for my disabled son for 24 years. Unfortunately, he passed in March 2024. I received 2013 and struggling because I relied on some of my son's SSDI. Can I get an increase? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. You're receiving retirement and disability benefits on your own record, and you want to see if that time helping him would count, would help your monthly benefit amount. But unfortunately, no. Yeah, no. Um, Make sure I did a video on living on Social Security alone. I've done it a few times, but there's about 50 programs I talk in there about that might help you. So it's titled. It's got a really stupid thumbnail title thing. I did a terrible job on the design of the title, but anyway, it says "Living on Social Security Alone." And just check that out. Grab a pen and a piece of paper, and then go listen to all 50 of them, and hopefully there's something in there that will make your life easier, or anybody out there. I'm a huge fan. Thank you for your knowledge and advice, and thank you to your son for answering my emails. Bless you both. Yeah, my this is the reason all the money and everything goes to my son, and because he helps me out, and he's got to pay for his rent and all that kind of good stuff. So he appreciates it, and that's the only reason I'm here. So all the mistakes are mine. All the successes are his. I apologize for not being clear. I am a recipient now. It took me 3 years. I'm posing the questions for others who are in the process of getting nowhere. Perfect. Thank you. That we would love that. Reach out to people, share, subscribe. We're just too many people that are not receiving the benefits that they need in retirement. Catherine became a member, silver member. Thank you very much. Awesome. How much are survivor benefits based on if you were living with your husband when he died? So if you were married to your husband when he passed away, you had to be married to that person, to your husband, for at least 9 months. There are a couple of exceptions, if the person passed away because of an accident or in the act of doing the military. But if you were married at least 9 months, survivor benefits, you can start survivor benefits as early as 60 years old. If you're disabled, a disabled widow, you can get those at 50 years old. But regular survivor benefits start at 60 years old. And anytime you take money from Social Security, it's reduced. Or anytime you take money early from Social Security, it's reduced. So for survivor benefits, then at 60, you will get 71.5% of their benefit amount. And survivor benefits are calculated kind of strange because it depends on how old you are and how old the deceased was, and whether they were receiving benefits early, late, disability. So there is, yeah, a little bit more complicated. So what you can do is reach out to Social Security. If you're at least 60 years old or you're disabled under 60, reach out to Social Security and they can run the numbers for you. And then the trick is to have them run the numbers and say, okay, how much would my survivor benefits be if I started today? And then say, hey, change the MOE. And they'll say, yeah, how'd you learn that? The month of entitlement. Change, how much will I receive if I start my benefits 1 year from now? And that way it'll give you an indication whether your benefits will go up and how much they will go up. And then if you decide, okay, yeah, all right, I'll call back next year, then don't worry about it. Social Security employee will be very, very happy. They're not, car salesmen are like, oh my gosh, I lost the sale. They're like, oh, okay, you don't want to go ahead and do it now. All right, that's less for work for me. Now I can go back to the other 400 cases I have. So, and then say, yeah, I don't want to do anything. I'll call back next year. So I just turned 64. Is it too early to apply for Medicare? Yes. If you are receiving Social Security benefits and you're approaching 65, then you will get your Medicare automatically. Medicare will send you your Part A and your Part B automatically. If you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and that employer has 20 or more employees, then you can refuse Part B. But if you want it, you keep it. And then you just have to find a plan, Medicare supplement, prescription drug plan, Medicare Advantage, all that, go through all that. But if you're not receiving Social Security benefits and you want to have to sign up for Medicare, then you actually have to reach out to Social Security about 3 months before you turn 65 and sign up for Medicare. So, all right, Catherine became a member. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see. And Reba USA became a member. Renee, thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. $10. Awesome. I'll take that one for myself and I'll give myself a coffee IV. So sorry, son. Elon is not a god. He will make mistakes, but is able to fix the problem, play the blame game. So that's the difference and why we need Elon to fix the system and government that is too big, too corrupt, and too evil. Okay. Yeah, I like the fact that a lot of his followers, anytime I talked about Elon, said anything, said, "Hey, Elon, you're incorrect here." People would just attacked me in comments, and like even he said, "Yeah, I make mistakes," but yeah, his super supporters think he's perfect, even though he doesn't. So guess what? He's a stupid idiot human being, just like the rest of us. Go figure. Hello, my name is Letty. I'm 62, and this past November, I have started getting my benefits and still working part time. My question is, if they start cutting our benefits, can I work more hours? All right, so the benefits are not projected to be cut for another few years, but by that time you'll be your full retirement age. So once you hit your full retirement age, you can make as much money as you want, and there's no $1 for every $2 or anything. Yeah. So for this year, since you're 62, 63, 64, or whatever, you can work, and as long as you stay under the 23,400, if you make over that, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. So Social Security kept black lung claims folders of people born in the 19th century. It was an agreement between the Department of Labor and Social Security. Yes, that was used to be a question when you filed for benefits at Social Security. They ask you a couple of the questions that are really no longer there anymore is black lung, and were you an attorney in the Japanese internment camps during World War II? Those are two questions that have no longer been asked because of, yeah, time has passed. So I just shared this channel on Threads and IG. Folks need to get this informed. This is great. Thanks for thank you very much. Yeah, any way we can get this information, send this video to Elon Musk. I've tried to reach out to him several times and no response yet, but he's a busy guy. So what are you going to do? Yeah, desperate times. We need to get this done. All right, I am over my hour. Apologize for not getting to everybody's question. But I will be back not tomorrow, but the day after, and I will get to more of your questions. So we'll talk to you then. Have a